Good evening. This is a Dolores County Broadcasting Network. And I have nothing interesting or comical to add about the New York Jets. I guess comical is probably the best word to describe them. So with that, we will start with our DCTV 4-H evening news program for May 8th. It's already the 8th, 2019. Camera person, Cowboy Harrison. News anchor, Little Pink Lion Faulkner. Meteorologist, Hannah, I don't know where I am, Hannah Faulkner. And this is news director Dan. And now the news.
Welcome to the DCTV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. Help us keep our news show on the air by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsorship by calling 970-677-419. That's 970-677-419. Now for the news. Hi, I am Daniel, and our first story is from the Durango Herald. Well, a jury here, Dillon prosecutors seek to introduce boys' statements at trial. Prosecutors say Mark Redwine killed his 13-year-old son Dillon in La Plata County about 6.5 years ago. Now they have provided the court with detailed information about the boy's statements to the family, friends, and legal professionals that they say link the father to the boy's death. 6th Judicial District Attorney Christian Champagne filed a second-degree murder charge against Redwine in 2017, 5 years after Dillon disappeared after the child arrived in La Plata County on a court-ordered visit to his father. Court documents filed at the time suggest that tension between Mark Redwine and his son was the ultimate motive for the murder. Attorneys working the Redwine trial have been barred from speaking about the case and therefore declined to comment. Mark Redwine is charged with second-degree murder and child abuse resulting in death, both Class 2 felonies. He faces 16 to 48 years in prison if found guilty of either charge. Prosecutors formalized the statements they would like to introduce from Dillon in a document they detailed with what the boy said to others in his relationship with his father. The document, as ordered by 6th Judicial District Attorney Chief Judge Jeffrey Wilson, cities evidence contained in hundreds of pages of discovery. Wilson must now review Dillon's statement and decide whether 13 conversations the boy had with 10 people before he died will be permitted at trial, which is scheduled to start September 18th. The law attorney Champagne is asking Wilson to rule on is known as hearsay, a statement about another person's words that cannot be substantiated, cross-examined, or established as credible. For example, if someone is testifying about a conversation she had with a friend as truth, but the friend cannot appear in court to substantiate the conversation, that would be hearsay. In this case, Dillon is not able to testify about the statements prosecutors are attempting to admit into evidence or be cross-examined by the defense. But prosecutors say the boy's words are crucial to fact-finding, suggesting Dillon's statements corroborate each other. Prosecutors maintain the boy had no reason to lie about the tension between him and his father. Audio recordings and electronic records confirm the truthfulness of the conversations. It would be an injustice to allow the jury to consider Dillon's statements, especially because his father downplayed the tension in the relationship to law enforcement after the boy's death. Dillon cannot speak for himself, but he made it clear to many people that he did not want to visit his dad, the defendant, and that there was significant tension in his relationship with his father. Champagne wrote in a notice to introduce statements to allow the defendant to downplay detention and mischaracterize this relationship to law enforcement in interview after interview without the jury having Dylan Redwine's input would be an injustice and thwart the fact-finding, truth-seeking responsibility of the jury. The stories from the Durango Herald. Soggy forecast includes winter storm watch in the mountains. Southwest Colorado could see scattered thunderstorms across the week, according to the National Weather Service. The Weather Service issued a winter storm watch that calls for accumulations of 10 to 20 inches, with the heaviest snowfall expected above 10,000 feet. The most significant snowfall is expected Wednesday and Thursday nights. Moisture moved into the region last night and will persist through the weekend, with thunderstorms most likely in the afternoons. And Jimmy Fowler, a meteorologist for the Weather Service in Grand Junction, I would expect this weekend to be cloudy with scattered showers, he said of Southwest Colorado. Scattered showers are expected to bring highly variable amounts of rain. Areas above 9,000 feet could see snow. It will be a fairly warm storm, but temperatures are still expected to fall. High temperatures in Durango will drop from a predicted high of 62 degrees Wednesday to 59 degrees Thursday, according to the Weather Service. Highs in Cortez will follow a similar pattern, dropping from a predicted high of 66 degrees for Wednesday to around 56 degrees Thursday and Friday. The thunderstorms will be driven by moisture moving into the area from California. Moisture moving into southwest Colorado from the Pacific Ocean is a hallmark of El Nino. Weather patterns persisting in the area. El Nino has a 65% chance of continuing through the summer. Forecasters will be watching the 416 fire burn scar closely, but Fowler said he couldn't say whether the area will face a high risk of flooding. La Plata County officials will be monitoring the burn scar. They will particularly watch temperatures above 10,000 feet to determine flooding risk, said Brooks Knowlton, director of La Plata County's Office of Emergency Management. The county's temperature gauges take readings in an area that would feed Tripp and Falls Creek. Mild daytime temperatures and cold nights have helped prevent flooding thus far. You couldn't have ordered anything better than what we had this spring. However, high temperatures in the coming weeks, particularly above 8,500 feet, could heighten the risk of flooding because significant snowpack remains. Uber IPO is a moral stain on Silicon Valley. In 2010, I received an email from a ecstatic employee at a startup called Uber Cab. What our tiny company is doing for San Francisco right now is huge. He told me the employee's joy was contagious. But then, as a naive baby tech pundit, I was prone to spinning out elaborate visions of tech abetting progress. And the more I learned about Uber Cab's bold idea, the more deeply I swooned. Car ownership is a financial and environmental blight. Cars are one of the most expensive products we buy, but they barely get any use. Most cars spend most of the day parked. Uber Cab, which shortened its name to Uber, was using technology to push a radical new urban vision and is quickly becoming a poster child for Silicon Valley's messianic vision. Allowing strangers to share their cars sounded crazy, but if it took off, Uber might reduce the need for car ownership and increase the utilization of each car. It would make transportation cheaper and far more environmentally friendly, and it might create sustainable jobs for many drivers. Dumbly, I once bought into this vision. Here was a company that could credibly claim to be changing the world, and it might unpave paradise and tear down the parking lots. Nearly a decade later, as Uber begins pitching its business to Wall Street in advance of an initial public offering that could value the company at $100 billion, I'm sickened and saddened by my naiveness. I don't know. Naivete. In the years since, Uber skirted laws and cut corners to trample regulators and competitors. It accelerated the startup industry, misogynistic and reckless hustle culture, and it pushed a frightening new picture of labor, one in which everyone is a contractor toiling without protection, our honors and lives ruling by uncaring algorithms in the cloud. Today, Uber is more responsible than yesterday's. Travis Kalanick, Uber's one-time night king, was ousted as chief executive in 2017, and Dara, whatever his new chief, has led a throughout rebellion rehabilitation. Yet Uber's early insiders paid no real price to their sins. Kalanick's stake will be worth nearly $9 billion. Tech giants, including Apple, Google, and Jeff Bezos, who all acquire significant stakes in Uber, will make a killing. Saudi Arabian petro monarchs will too. Not Uber's drivers. Recent studies show that Uber drivers make poverty wages around $10 an hour after their vehicle expenses are deducted from their pay. Drivers' fortunes might only worsen after the company goes public. Uber lost nearly $2 billion in 2018, and the best long-term hope for Uber's business is that drivers disappear altogether, replaced by cars that drive themselves. The environmental gains have also yet to materialize. Though ride sharing has prompted some people to go car-free, vehicle ownership has gone up to cities where Uber and Lyft are popular. Car services might also be prompting wealthier people to ditch public transit, thus reducing political support for it. It didn't have to be this way. A better Uber could have employed drivers and paid them a living wage. A better Uber might have found a way to work with municipalities on improving transit rather than treating city governments as enemies to be tracked and trampled. Trump formally asserts executive privilege over Mueller report. The White House formally asserted executive privilege over Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report Wednesday, President Donald Trump's first use of executive authority in the latest confrontation with Congress. Assistant Attorney General Stephen Boyd wrote in a letter to Congress that Trump has asserted executive privilege over the entirety of the subpoenaed materials. Boyd wrote that Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler's push to hold Barr in contempt had terminated their negotiations over what material lawmakers would be allowed to view from Mueller's investigation. As we have repeatedly explained, the Attorney General could not comply with your subpoena in its current form without violating the law, court rules, and court orders, and without threatening the independence of the Department of Justice prosecutorial functions, Boyd wrote. The White House assertion of privilege represents the latest collision between Trump and House Democrats, who had seen their investigations of the president blocked at every turn. This decision represents a clear escalation in the Trump's administration blanket defiance of Congress's constitutionally mandated duties, Nadler said later, adding, as a co-equal branch of government, we must have access to materials that we need to fulfill our constitutional responsibilities in a manner consistent with past precedent. The White House move came shortly before the House Judiciary Committee planned to vote to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt for failing to provide the full Mueller report. Mueller released a redacted 448-page report on April 18th that found no conspiracy between Trump's campaign and Russia, which interfered in the 2016 election. The report also identified 10 instances of possible obstruction of justice by Trump. The president has stated that his administration will oppose all subpoenas. In effect, virtually all documents requested are going unsatisfied. Witnesses are refusing to show up to hearings, Nadler said at the start of the session. This is unprecedented. If it allowed to go unchecked, this obstruction means the end of congressional oversight. The White House move will not have a direct impact on possible testimony from Mueller, though it could limit what he can say indirectly by putting particular subject area off limits. Nadler is in an interview on CNN on Wednesday indicated that he was less confident that Mueller would testify to Congress despite negotiations between Democrats and representatives for the special counsel. I think the president will try to stop Robert Mueller. Whether he will succeed in is another question, Nadler said. He later added, in the face of the committee's threatening contempt vote, the Attorney General will be compelled to request that the president invoke executive privilege with respect to the materials subject to the subpoena. Boyd's letter followed a 11th hour negotiation session between justice and judiciary on Tuesday as both parties tried to calm tensions. The Justice Department, which has allowed only 12 senior lawmakers to have access to a fuller version of Mueller's report, agreed to allow those lawmakers to take notes of what they read and bring additional staff to assist. Now for Dumb Laws with Hannah.
Our Dumb Law segment are the actual laws still in many books, states, still on the books in many states, cities, and municipalities. This means that laws are still technically legal. Dumb laws in Alabama. It is legal to drive the wrong way down a one-way street if you have a lantern attached to the front of your automobile. If you have a windshield wiper, you must have windshield wipers on your car. You may not have ice cream cone. You may not have an ice cream cone in your back pocket at any time. Masks may not be worn in public. In Anniston, you may not wear blue jeans down Noble Street. In Auburn, it is illegal to bike, roller skate, skateboard, or inline skate in a commercially zoned area. In Lee County, it is illegal to sell peanuts after sundown on a Wednesday. In Mobile, women may not wear a lewd dress in public. Bathing in city fountains is prohibited. No person within the city may possess confetti. Spray string is banned. If one wishes to read palms in the city, they must first pay for a $10 permit. And it is illegal to howl at ladies within city limits. Now for a weather report. Our current weather data comes from the DCTV weather station located in the beautiful downtown Dove Creek. The current temperature is 48 degrees. The high for today was 54 degrees. The low was 40 degrees. The barometer is at 29.63 inches and is steady. Humidity is at 67%. Wind is between 1 and 3 miles per hour from the southeast. Gusts hammered up to 20 miles per hour. There were 0.04 of an inch of moisture today in the DCTV weather station. Moisture for the month is 0.53 of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 6.49 of an inch. And now for the big map, courtesy of the National Weather Service. For a change, the west coast is clear except for isolated parts of rain. That is the west coast. Further inland is quite a different story as rain mixed with snow covers the nation from Idaho to Wisconsin and dripping down as low as the Four Corners area. Below that is even larger area of rain and thunderstorms from West Arizona to Atlantic coast. This area is punctuated by a large area of severe thunderstorms and flash flooding possible. New England appears to be clear for now. Here's our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Thursday, rain/snow showers, high 52, low 41. Friday, showers likely, high 54, low 40. Saturday, thunderstorms, high 59, low 40. Sunday, thunderstorms, high 61, low 41. And then Monday, thunderstorms, high 62, low 42. Now for the snow total report, which is the amount of snowpack in the mountains across the state. We hope it will be helpful for our farmers and our skiers. Statewide, the snowpack is at 176% of normal. Now for the climate change report. CO2 carbon dioxide is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. This results in significant variations worldwide of moisture and hot and cool temperatures, but the general climate trend of the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 weekly changes as well as the CO2 numbers parts per million. Last week, 414.32. 2 weeks ago, 413.77. Last year, 409.84. 10 years ago, 390.36. 50 years ago, 327.34. Thank you, Dr. Peter Tanz of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news show on air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, just call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to our news director.
And that is the end of today's DCTV 4-H Evening News Show. This is your news director, Dan, saying good night and thank you for watching.